As I have said in like 100 videos, our clutter is never really about just our stuff. I know on the surface it can seem like just a bunch of piles or boxes of things that we don't really know what to do with, but in reality, it can often hold much deeper psychological implications and be affecting our life secretly in very negative ways. And even though we can get blind to clutter, or I know at least I certainly could, our brain definitely does not. It sees the mess as this huge alarm bell that we have unfinished business to take care of, and as a sign that we are not fully in control of our lives. And unfortunately, with time, these signals just get louder and louder until they start to significantly affect our mood, our stress levels, and even our self-esteem. And most of the time, we don't even make the connection that these feelings have anything at all to do with clutter. So today, I want to talk about what's really happening here and how understanding this can not only change our space, but also change how we actually feel about ourselves, which I honestly think is the most important part of this, because going through this can make us feel completely powerless, incompetent, and inadequate. But the good news here is that it doesn't even matter how hopeless we feel. It is possible to turn this around and fully gain control of our life again, which is exactly what this video is all about. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Now, before we can really talk about the loss of control, we have to start with the illusion of control that we keep falling for. And it has to do with the fact that our stuff, even the stuff that we have absolutely no use for anymore, can be deeply connected with our memories, our safety, and even our sense of identity. Holding on to these things really can feel like we're creating a safety net for ourselves. We can feel like if we keep all of these things that we're going to be prepared for whatever is going to happen in the future. Or if we hold on to everything from the past, that we never have to worry that we're going to ever lose any little part of ourselves. So on some level, when we cave into these feelings, it can feel like a kind of control. But the problem, as so many of us are facing right now, is that this comfort is very short-lived. All of the things that feel like control today eventually become the things that make our lives much harder tomorrow. And after working with so many people who struggle with this, including myself, I can tell you with certainty that clutter is actually robbing us of control in three major ways. Firstly, it pushes us completely into cognitive overload. Every single item in a cluttered room is competing for our brain's attention. And like I said earlier, even when we think that we're somehow tuning it out, our subconscious is still processing all of this in the background. It's like having several dozen tabs open in a browser with everything running at once. The more stuff there is, the more we waste our mental bandwidth trying to figure out what's important and what isn't. And this really wears us out a lot more than we think. Research shows that visual clutter actually increases cortisol, the stress hormone, and that it significantly contributes to mental fatigue. That's why our messy homes make us feel distracted, unproductive, and irritable without us fully realizing why. Instead of being this safe, restorative place, our home is essentially just putting our brain into fight mode all day. Okay, the second way that our clutter is robbing us of control is in our daily function. I don't think any of us are going to try to deny that clutter makes everything in our life that we need to do way harder. It slows us down, it creates obstacles because we can't even find the basic things that we need to be able to accomplish anything. It increases mistakes and forgetfulness, it disrupts our routines and our decision making, and it makes it feel impossible for us to actually relax. We may think we're just kind of calmly sitting there on the couch watching TV, but really at the same time, our brain is being bothered by all the junk in the living room and the huge pile of laundry on the couch. When our life is in chaos in this way, nothing really seems simple anymore. Everything becomes stressful and overwhelming. But the absolute worst part of this feeling of loss of control is what it does to our self-image. I truly believe that the deepest impact of clutter is how massively it reshapes how we see ourselves. We don't see ourselves as someone who's in charge of our lives or in charge of our space. We start to see ourselves as someone who cannot manage the things that we think that everyone else can. It can make us feel like we are failing at everything, which is of course not at all true. But this narrative does quietly start to seep into our self-esteem. And with time, it completely erodes our confidence and fills us with shame. And what's worse is that there is definitely a ripple effect. When clutter undermines control, the effects can start to spread all over the place. It can lead to conflicts in our relationships. It can lead to all kinds of missed opportunities. It can really shrink our world because we're too embarrassed to invite people over. And it can absolutely take a huge toll on our mental health. There is no question that it can be linked to anxiety, depression, stress, and feelings of hopelessness. And of course, all of these things do nothing but add to our feeling that our lives are out of control. But here is the hopeful part. Control can be rebuilt step by step. As impossible as it may seem right now, I am living proof that it can actually be done. But I have learned that the only successful way to do this is to learn to approach clutter with a sense of self-compassion instead of shame. We also have to try to understand that our brain was trying to protect us by sending us these signals. It just picked a strategy that doesn't work well long term, and that definitely hurts a lot short term. So what we really need to do is find a realistic methodology that won't overwhelm us this time. Now, I have a huge playlist of videos on this topic that I am going to link in the description box in case you are ready to start your decluttering journey. But please know that just by acknowledging that you have been going through this, that is a huge first step. And even just making the tiniest step forward is going to begin to give you your sense of control back. Please know also that you are certainly not alone in this. This is something that many people struggle with. And even though this is definitely fixable, I want you to know that your value as a person has absolutely nothing to do with the state of your home. As always, I want to thank you so much for being here. I truly hope that you found this video helpful. If you are looking for further support, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This is something that we talk about all the time. I wish you the very best of luck in all of this, and I will see you in the next one.